Hello everyone, this is Charlie with Spencer Pirates TCG. Got a couple matches that I played at locals this week coming at you. We'll go over kind of how I did, where I may have made some mistakes, and then go from there. So this first match, it is me playing my red-green Oden against Shun, who's playing a black-purple Luffy. He did win the dice roll, so he chose to go first. Which typically with this deck I do like to go second. I didn't have a good hand there. I definitely chose to mulligan. I have a couple cards I look for in my starting hand. Usually it's my Hiyori Izo combo that lets me cheat out a 5 cost on my second turn, which really is a great way to get me going quick. So as he's starting out, he's just built his deck. He's kind of play testing with it to see how he get it to work. So on my first hand, I'm able to play an Otama to search. I do like to take that Hiyori as it's a super big part of this deck to kind of get the mechanism working and kind of cheat out those 5 costs as soon as possible to get me to take to play some of those higher power cards. So Shun does elect to attack me, and I do take that hit. I usually take the first couple hits just kind of see if I can get the cards I'm looking for, and then maybe some counter later on. But I am able to pull off that Hiyori Izo combo, apply that Rested Dawn to my leader, and then draw a card. So I'm able to get that 7k swing early on into his life. He does take that as well. He does have that Black Maria on the board, which is concerning just because with Luffy's effect, getting those Rested and Active Dawn back each turn, I definitely want to try to take care of that as soon as I can. As we're kind of waiting through, kind of figuring out how we're going to do, I keep going through my hand thinking what's going to come next so I can kind of be ready for it. He does elect to just swing pretty big at my board, just kind of attaches all Dawn. So I am going to take that one as well. It just makes it easy. I think it was like a 11, 12k swing. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to burn my counter this early on. Take that second hit to my life, call it good. He does use his Black Maria combo here to get that Dawn and then send it back and then get the 2 Dawn. He's just deciding if he wants to do it or not. So still getting used to that Luffy deck for sure. Alright, so I'm at my 6th Dawn turn now. This is where I'm kind of deciding how I want to build my board up. So I've got that Izo and the Otama on the board. He still has that Black Maria. I want to get rid of that Black Maria pretty quickly, but first I'm going to swing with Izo into his life just to see if he takes it or not. He does elect to counter out, I believe. Yes, he does. He purges a couple counters for the protect. And then here, I'm going to spend 3 Dawn. I'm going to hard play my Izo just to rest that Black Maria. That way I can actually get rid of it so he can stop getting that effect. I just swing straight at it. Don't even get my leader effect, but I do drop the blocker kind of as a protect. I was showing him the pre-release I got on that stamp. This is one of my favorite decks, so I'm trying to like alt it out as best I can. So getting some pre-release cards is the closest I can get on those, but I do after I swing it in after I drop my blocker, I do pass turn. He's kind of already building his board. He's got 8 Dawn. I'm still at 6, even though he went first. He does swing directly at my life. I give him the 1k counter. He Gecko Morias into that Black Maria to bring it right back on the board, even though I just got rid of it. So that was, of course, not ideal for me, just so we can keep getting that Black Maria combo going. And then he passes to me. Restand my Izo and my leader, of course. I'm at 8 Dawn now. So a few things I can kind of do with 8 Dawn with this deck. Right now I'm deciding if I want to play any cards, but I have like a carrot in my hand. I wouldn't really get the full effect of playing a carrot right now. So I'm kind of laying out my Dawn, kind of deciding exactly how I want to play this. So what I like to do is kind of just to poke a little bit. I do swing with my Otama, attach like 5 Dawn, swing there, and then I attach 2 more Dawn to my Izo and swing just to kind of help make him purge some cards from his hand. He does like to take the hit though, so that's worth noting. And then I swing 7 with my Izo as well, takes the second hit, and then I swing an additional 7 with my leader, he burns some counter out of his hand. So I was able to kind of purge 4-ish cards from his hand. He showed the camera his hand there because he was telling me he really wanted to show me. So I was like, hey, show the camera. And he was pretty bricked, as it said. 3 Luffy Taros and a Gecko is kind of rough. But we'll see what he does here. He does have all 10 Dawn while I'm still at 8. So he's deciding he does, if he wants to attach Dawn to his leader and swing, which he does. I pitch the 2k counter from the Yamato to kind of protect. Then he swings with that Gecko. I'm deciding, do I want to counter or not, or purge the blocker, but I end up using Izo's effect, trashing the Whitebeard, and then giving an additional 2k counter to get out of that hit. And then he plays the Frankie, pitching a card, Dawn minus, and then getting the ability to draw a couple there. So he's able to replenish his hand a little bit and get some cards back. But he, like I said, he did play that Gecko. So he's got 2 Geckos on the board now, which is a little bit of a problem. So I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head, like, I need to get rid of some of these big bodies. He is down to 1 life, but I'm trying to decide if I want to purge his board a little bit. He does elect to block with the Frankie as I swing with the Izo, which is fine. I wanted to get rid of that too. I do just swing 5 at life with leader, but I dropped the Shanks. So the Shanks being minus 1k to all the characters and gaining rush, I'm able to just take care of one of his Geckos, just to kind of clean up that board a little bit. I don't want to keep that many powerful characters on the board, which, as you'll see here in a turn, did work out in my favor. If I had not done that, I might have been in a tough spot. He starts out swinging with the Gecko. At my Izo, I actually use Izo's effect again and then counter out of it. Then he swings again with his leader, and then he drops another Gecko. So dropping that 3rd Gecko does bring that Frankie back yet again. So it's been recycling the Frankie a couple times, getting full benefit from that, and he's able to draw some more cards, which ends up helping him out pretty immensely. Comes back to me, so I do have that Shanks on the board. I've got a full board right now. That Izo, the 7k Izo, and then the Shanks. Then, of course, I have my leader, which with the Izo on the board, I would still get the effect. So here I go ahead and I start swinging again. I swing, I believe, 6 with my Otama, just to try to lure out a 2k counter, which he gives me. And then I swing 6 with my my other green Izo, again, trying to lure out a 2k counter or the block from the Frankie. He actually takes the life. Then I swing 7 with my other Izo, Gum Gum Giants. He's able to get out of that one, draw a couple cards. Sends those Dawn back. And then I swing 7 with my leader. He blocks it with the Frankie, and then the 12k swing with Shanks does actually get me there. I definitely put me in a good spot, having the ability to build that board. He did drop those 3 Geckos in a row, which was tough to get out of, but with the bricked hand, I was able to kind of just keep poking, and get through for the victory on the first one. I'm going through my deck here. I'm showing him a couple things I built out in that deck to kind of go through. This is my next match. This is for the championship, actually, and super exciting to play Kyle in the championship. Reading my leader, not a lot of people know exactly what the red-green Oden does. I kind of flashed my custom leader there for a second. I usually don't play with it because people get confused sometimes, but we do a rock, paper, scissors roll to see who goes first. I choose to go second once again. It just seems to do me a little bit better. Once again, had to mulligan, didn't see the cards I'm looking for in my starting hand. This is, I believe, one of the first times Kyle's played Shanks. He just built this deck. Obviously, OP09 just came out, but it was definitely a good build. On my first turn, I am able to play an Otama, search for a green Land of Wano. Once again, pull a Hiyori, which is just so crucial for this deck. And then I'm also able to play a unique card to this deck for me, which is my stage Land of Wano. You'll kind of see how that comes in handy later. It's very low risk. I have it if I need it, and if I don't end up needing it, it's not a big deal. It's not crucial to having as a part of my deck. So he does swing 5 at me. I just elect to take it early on, and then I'm able to do my combo, play that Hiyori into my Izo, once again attaching Rest Dawn, drawing a card. So I'm able to kind of get that leader effect and build a board. So I swing 7 at his lead. He's deciding if he wants to take it or counter. with Shanks, you know, he's got that minus 1k, so that does make a pretty big difference as to calculating how you're going to attack. But with Oden having that effect, it gives me kind of that 6k leader status. He does elect to take it here early, so he's now starting his 5-Don turn. I believe he plays a Yasop here, which was a problem for me. I definitely wanted to get rid of that as soon as I could. That Hongo being on the board is also something I'm constantly thinking about, because I know it has the ability to kind of remove my characters. And yep, there comes the Yasop. He's kind of deciding how he wants to do it, so he does swing just 5. And then I ended up giving him a 1k counter. I realized if he swung 5 at my leader, I was at 6, so I probably didn't have to counter, but that's okay. I made a few mistakes in this match, as you'll see as we go through, but that's all good and well. Alright, I do swing 7 at life with Izo. Deciding if he wants to counter out here. He does elect to counter out. Gives the minus 1k and then gives me another counter. And then I swing with my leader. That 7k swing gives me the leader effect. He gives me the Bad Manners Kick Course, I believe is that one, which trash card, get 3k to it. So he does manage to get out of that. And then I drop a Denjiro, who's really, really good in this deck as well, as it lets me get Dawn back every time he swings with the Dawn attached. So super high value there. So definitely a character that my opponent would want to get rid of as soon as possible. And you'll see here that is exactly kind of what he's thinking about. He's trying to think of how to remove my 5-cost Land of Wano cards, so that he's able to stop letting me get my leader effect. Because that leader effect, I have to have a Land of Wano 5-cost or more on the board. So he does drop the Otama, reduces the power on Denjiro, then swings with Hongo, reducing my Denjiro to 3,000. Drops the Marco. I'm just reading the card just to make sure I don't see Marco often, which does unfortunately get rid of my Denjiro the turn I played it, which is unfortunate, but he did have to use at least some resources to kind of get that from there. Then he swings with the Yasop at my leader. I give him the 2k counter, and then he passes to me. All right, so my Izo has survived, which is good, so I can still get my leader effect. I'm now at 8 Dawn. This is where I kind of make an interesting play. It's definitely one that is situational. I'm just going to go ahead and give a 7k swing to start at Yasop, and he does take it. I definitely wanted to get rid of some of those other cards as quick as I could. I spend all 8 Dawn to drop the 8-cost Oden, and that's when I use my stage. I'll pitch a Land of Wano card, which happened to be another stage. Gets me a Dawn back so I can still get my leader effect. Swing 7 at the Hongo just to get rid of the Hongo. I want those power reducing cards off the board as soon as I can, just so that he can't keep getting the benefit from those cards, because that's an easy way to remove a lot of my higher powered cards that are on board. So that Oden on the board, he does restand with 3 Dawn rested. So you'll attack with him, rest 3 Dawn, and he restands. So a lot of people want to get rid of him. He's kind of like a Zoro. Just Zoro can do it 3 times. He drops the Rayleigh here, which is rough. He reduces my Izo and my Oden by a couple power. There's Brittney's arm making a show in the video briefly. Celebrity shot, I guess. But then he actually swings 6 with his Shanks at my Izo, who was reduced to 4, I believe. So I like to take that. I don't really want to counter that much out of it. But I'm now at my 10 Dawn turn. My Oden is still on the board. He's at 6k as opposed to his normal 8 due to Rayleigh. I forgot to actually restand my stage there, so I do remember here in a second, but just a little bit of an accident on my part. But so he's got no Dawn up, but he's got that Rayleigh on the board, so I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I go ahead and swing 6 at his leader with my Oden. And there I finally remembered to restand my stage. He ends up using his leader effect and then dropping Oden to 5 and then countering out. I restand him with 3 Dawn, so I just get rid of the dice, remembering he's at 5, so I swing 5 again. Then I swing 7 with my leader. He does take that one, dropping him to 2 life. And then I'd spend 6 Dawn and drop 2 of my Nekomamushi blockers to kind of give me a little bit of security, hopefully to save my Oden from KO. All right, so he drops the building snake, I believe is the name. It drops my Oden's power by a little bit, and then he proceeds to drop another Rayleigh, I believe, which lowers my Oden and my Nekomamushi, but with the Rayleigh, yep, it KOs my Oden. This is actually where I make a mistake. I totally forget to use Oden's on KO ability that lets me drop a cost 3 Akazaya 9 character from my deck. So I do actually forget to do that. I do take a couple hits to my life here, saving those blockers. So that was my first major mistake. So I would have been able to drop another blocker. So I would have been able to kind of build my board a little bit. But I'd end up dropping the Otama, finding another Hiyori. I'm kind of just trying to decide. My hand size is pretty small at this point, so I'm deciding how I want to go about playing. So I'm deciding if I want to hard play the 5-cost Yamato in my hand or use the Hiyori to cheat out the Yamato, which I end up doing. I take the Dawn back, and I'm like, you know what? No, that's not the play I want to make. So I decide, and then I end up spending 4. So I do play the Hiyori, pop Hiyori's effect, play the Yamato, and then draw a card. End up using Yamato's effect to attach a rested Dawn to my leader so that I can get that leader effect. I still have some Dawn remaining, of course. So I just end up swinging big at the Rayleigh. I attach basically all Dawn. I think it was like a 12k swing. He does take that to the 1 Rayleigh, so I'm able to get rid of that. So I do pass to him. At this point, we're both kind of deciding how we want to play this, because I think I just have 2 or 3 cards in my hand. So I do have 3 cards. Yeah, I've got like the 2k counter Izo. I think I have another 5-cost Yamato, and then I've got one other card. He plays the Ben Beckman, immediately gets rid of one of my blockers, swings 6 with his leader at my leader. I give him a 2k. And then I believe he swings, he swings 7 with Marco. I give him another 2k. And then he swings 8 with Rayleigh. I'm deciding if I want to take the life. I end up giving that block up to kind of preserve the life. This is where I am kind of deciding how I want to go through here. I know this is probably the last turn, so I'm kind of laying out my Dawn to decide the best way to do this. Because I know I just drew a dragon, so I'm kind of thinking, okay, I have to go for game here. There's really no way around it to decide if I'm going to be able to kind of overpower. He's got 2 life left and 2 cards in hand, so at most he could have 2 2Ks in his hand, right? So what I end up doing is I drop the dragon. I actually attach the 2 rested Dawn from my dragon to my Yamato, and then I am deciding if I want to swing 7 or 8 at his life, because if it's both 2k counters in his hand, he's going to have to spend those both. So I end up swinging 8 at his life here with Yamato. That leaves me 1 Dawn up. He is kind of deciding if he wants to take the first one or not. He does end up taking it. And then I end up trashing a card with my Land of Wano stage to attach another Dawn, or to raise and rested Dawn, and then I'm able to attach it to my leader. This is where I make my biggest mistake. He takes that last life, and I completely forgot to use Yamato's ability to attach a rested Dawn to Dragon, and he was able to just counter out of it. I would have been able to go for game, and I would have won if I had used Yamato's ability to attach that rested Dawn to Dragon. He was able to just counter out of it because of it. But good match nonetheless. Definitely congrats to Kyle. Well played, Shanks deck.